Perhaps you've heard of Fight Club. Or perhaps you've heard of, what's the other one? I feel like Palahniuk has another well-known book other than Fight Club that people know about. I guess there's Choke as well. Choke, which I'll have to first page test as well. But not a whole lot of conversation about this other book that he's written. It's a small volume called Fugitives and Refugees, A Walk in Portland, Oregon. And I suppose this is actually more of a nonfiction title from Chuck, which is not all that common. So let's go ahead and give it the first page test. And this was actually, just for reference, this was written in, 2003, first published in 2003. It's about Portland, Oregon, so what could go wrong? And, well, I see we have an introduction. See, this one's a little confusing because we start out with do we start with the introduction or do we start with Talk the Talk, a Portland vocabulary lesson? Maybe I will start with the introduction just for this book, because sometimes the introduction of a book might as well just be the first page, and you might as well start there. It can be a little hard to tell. You have to use your discretion sometimes. Introduction: Unraveling the Fringe. Everyone in Portland is living a minimum of 3 lives, says Catherine Dunn, the author of Geek Love. She says everyone has at least 3 identities. She's sitting in the window of her apartment in northwest Portland, rolling cigarettes and smoking them, her long blonde hair parted in the middle and tied back. She's wearing black framed glasses. The radiators clank, and a siren goes by, 4 stories below on Gislin Street. They're a grocery store checker, an archaeologist, and a biker guy, she says. Or they're a poet, a drag queen, and a bookstore clerk. Rolling another cigarette, she says, "It's tricky, because all the rich people are in disguise. You never know when the scruffy guy across the counter could be someone rich enough to buy the store, chew it up, and spit it out. Smoking," she says, "the nice little old ladies from the West Hills, with their sweater sets and pearls, they're all rabid advocates of the death penalty. Those green wooded hills fill the window behind her." And, well, in classic Chuck fashion, the pages want to turn themselves, in my opinion. It, of course, seems to be in Chuck's trademark style, his conversational way of telling stories, but it also has this sense of something that's going to happen, right? Because obviously we start with the idea of living a minimum of 3 lives. That sort of implies a little bit of chaos happening in Portland, and I think that's what we're going to get with the story. We're going to get a lot of people with different experiences, different walks of life, and they all have sort of different amalgamations of ideas about themselves and perhaps society, perhaps other things. There's only so much we can gather from the first page, but I do want to turn it. And that is why I like Chuck so much, because he really is skilled at telling even mundane things in a way that just isn't boring at all. And also, from what I understand, Chuck was a journalist. He went to college for journalism, which had a major impact on his style and his approach. So I assume he's putting his journalism chops to good work here in this title. So I'm going to keep reading it. I think this is very interesting, and I'd like to hear what you thought. Have you read Fugitives and Refugees, or perhaps you'd like to read it now that you've heard the first page? Let me know what you think.